Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Sounds Like NYC, episode 56, I believe. And today I'm here with my very excited excuse me, uh, Boy Blue Baby. That's right, in
It's
that order?
Baby Boy Blue. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people get it mixed up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Sorry about that. Yeah, Baby Boy Blue. But yeah, thank you for coming on such like a short notice. And if you want, I could just like run your bio right now. It's a lot.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So sorry, I'm being very professional. I'm just gonna read it from the IGDNA.
I would do the same thing.
But Baby Boy Blue, also known as Liam Reyes, is a Filipino-American music producer and artist based out of New Jersey. Liam has produced, injured, mixed, and mastered music for artists all across the world, ranging from many different genres, such as indie pop, hip hop, rock, punk, and electronic. A few big artists, a few big upcoming artists he has produced include Rachel Bochner, Magnaye, Bianca Jolyn, Chrissie Límos, Flay, yeah, sorry about that. Chrissie Kayla Hang,
Hang, yeah.
Kayla Hang, and Justin
Magnaye.
Magnaye. Yeah, plugs. Yeah, bunch of plugs, and like I would definitely love to have a couple of these guys on if
Yes,
in the city area. But yeah, let's get started. So, do you mind if I just call you Liam?
Yes, you can very much call me Liam. I love that.
Okay. So like let's start off with like a couple of like simple questions, like,
Right.
Because I'm like very interested in your like producer name, like Boy Blue Baby. Like,
Right.
Where did that come from?
So, I guess like Baby Boy Blue in general actually stems from a name that my mother used to call me, like back when I was like a kid.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I used to make music, like I used to make like punk alternative music.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know we discussed about
we
this.
talked about this before, yeah.
Yeah, I used to make music like that under just Liam Reyes. And then I was going through this very like strong transitional period where I was like, alright, I want to do the most kind of left field thing. So I was thinking about like, oh, I want to be called something instead of just Liam Reyes. And then, funny enough, it was actually my high school ex-girlfriend.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, she was like we were cool, like at that point, we weren't really like doing anything, but we were just friends, right? And she was the one who was like, oh, like, it needs to mean something to you, you can't just like name yourself whatever. And then she's like, oh, what's that name that your mom used to call you? And then oddly enough, when she texted me that, I was sitting in front of my mom, and I looked at her, and I was like, that's a sign, like, Baby Boy Blue has to happen. The IG handle is honestly because Baby Boy Blue's taken.
Okay.
So like, and I wanted to match everywhere, so everywhere on the socials it's Boy Blue Baby, so everybody just mixes it up.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
so
it
that's
sucks.
The reason why. Oh, damn.
Yeah, because there's no way to contact those people at times, you know.
Just like sending like a very angry DM, and just
right.
But like, oh, okay, that's a very interesting. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's a very interesting origin story, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you still friends with that ex-girlfriend? Or?
Yes, most definitely.
Ooh, okay.
It's funny, like
Yeah.
we were like we have this like ongoing joke, like especially like a couple years back, where she'd be like, "Can I send you a voicemail, and can you put in one of the songs?" So like when I first launched Baby Boy Blue, I was actually making lo-fi music.
Okay, cool.
And one of my early songs is Ella's Room, and it's actually like my ex-girlfriend, like in the voicemail, just to be like, alright, look, I did it. You can leave me alone now.
I mean, no, that's like very good, that you're still such great friends with your ex. That's really cool, yeah.
Yeah, she's one of the very few that's really cool. Shout out Ella.
Awesome. So like, let's talk about, kind of like your relationship, or I guess, your relationship to like New York City and stuff like that. Like we were talking before, or like I read in the bio that you're actually from like New Jersey, but you kind of so you live in between both New Jersey and like New York City, basically, right?
Yeah, I live very very close to New York City in Jersey. to where most of my work and like I'm here probably like every other weekend if anything, or especially before COVID, I'd be here every other weekend either just seeing friends or like actually doing things like this, or we'd link up with some music connects. So to me it's like I'm still very much influenced by like the New York City scene. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I love it more, especially knowing how the music scene is in New Jersey. You know what I mean? Like the the New Jersey's like music scene is cool, but there's like they're kind of like stuck in this like era of like doing punk music and rap music, where like New York City,
man,
yeah, it's so much more like experimental. If they go that rock route, or they go that, they're just trying to implement new things to make it more like modern. So I just feel more at home doing like music work with people from New York.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting because we had somebody from New Jersey, or like he's like mostly based in New Jersey, and like he's definitely more of like a rock or like rock band music producer, but he does everything as well because he's like engineer. But I guess he would definitely we should have him, you and him, battle out. New Jersey versus like New York. Yeah, dude, I'll be down for it. But okay, I see. That's really cool. Yeah. So like, let's talk about how you like where did music start for you? Let's like run down first about how you discovered that you wanted to do music, even just like as a hobby.
Right. So I would say like in my life, just out of the most simplified terms, is that I used to go through so many phases in life. So like I went through a skating phase, I went through an art phase, I went through very like weird music phases, like listening wise, but then I was very into video games as any like regular 10-year-old boy would. And there was this game that my brother brought to like my grandmother's house one day.
What game?
It was Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And I was
story, yeah.
Yeah, and like it's weird because I thought I was like one of the only people that like built a whole career because it started from Guitar Hero, but like I've actually heard so many other people say the same thing.
Dude, same with me, because back around that age too, like middle school, I had like a really good friend, kind of like a summer camp friend, after school friend, and he played guitar around that time, and that was when I was just starting to get into music and stuff like that. So he was a big influence on me, obviously.
Yeah.
I think he started playing guitar because of Guitar Hero as well. So yeah, that set of games probably definitely inspired a whole generation of people.
Exactly.
To pick up guitar. So yeah, that's what I'm about.
Yeah, it's so crazy to like kind of conceptualize, because like if you think about even like people like our parents or anybody from that age group, it's like they got into guitar, they got into instruments because just like the music, like MTV or things like that, where like we got into it because of video games. You know what I mean? Like Guitar Hero was such a crazy thing where it's like, you have 5 buttons, but then the people who like actually pay attention to the music and musicality of these songs that are being put in front of us, like it's so insane, right? And then if you think about it now, right, like what does the younger generation have that's like equivalent to that? And it's like probably things on TikTok, probably things on like YouTube, or like watching people like make songs, or like even influences like Billie Eilish, her being like 17, 18, like it's crazy to think that it's like there's always something about each gen that causes a person to go into music. You know what I mean?
And we'll definitely talk about like TikTok like a bit later on, because
yes.
I mean you probably heard the news and
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, that's like a whole thing that I have. But like continuing with your like musical journey. So after getting the initial inkling, I guess, I don't know what you call it, but like the initial feeling of like wanting to start guitar. What was the moment, so what was the moment where you decided to, do music as a profession?
Right, so I was playing guitar, writing songs, doing the whole shebang of like joining bands, like as you would in like middle school. And then just like any other kid, you know, I'd want to like make a CD, somehow have a song out that's my own. And, you know, I found like this computer mic. You know, I don't know if you know about this anymore, but like when they had that plastic tube, like I found one of those and like that just instantly like sparked it, right? So from there, it was like I learned about the audio interfaces, condenser microphones, dynamic microphones, and then I got like my very first setup freshman year, and then specifically I made like 2 solo albums within the span of freshman year, sophomore year. Right.
Jeez, that's impressive.
Wait,
and this is like high school, right?
This is high school.
Jeez,
Yeah, my career started really early, and I love that I started early because it made me realize what I wanted to do early. And like it's more set in stone. But I remember like my shift over to saying like this is when I started doing it professionally was when I first recorded one of my friends. Like I went to school with him. I made one of his albums, and so we did like a regular single, I think, and then he goes, but I want like a full album now, like, and you could do that. So we spent like all that year making this one album, and I was actually listening to it on my IG Live like a couple months ago, just out of like, hey guys, let's go look at old music, and it's so like, it's half cringe, but then when I'm listening to it, I'm like, this is like 14, 15-year-old Liam that did this off of like a really shitty computer and like some sounds off of the internet and like a guitar, right? And then to me, I was just like, and I was making money off of it, you know, of course, like I charged him,
Oh, damn, from the start, charging.
From the start, yes.
I would never be so bold. Like, you know, right now I'm actually producing a mini album, an EP for some friends overseas, and like I can definitely charge them, but I'm not like that confident in my skills yet. So for you to be so bold, I appreciate that.
I think people definitely found it weird, but you know, it was a mixture of, you know, I had like 2 albums at that point that was just made for myself under my belt, and of course like. By people hearing that, there were certain people that were like, you made that yourself, I want to like do a cover, and those would be the works that I would do for free.
Oh,
right? Because like, but it would be like such
that whole, dude, like, I don't know if you're doing it on purpose, but that whole kind of like engineer thing of like giving one song for free, and for it to lead into like paid, you know, paid like work, dude, you damn, you were like on top of your game.
And like what's weird is I didn't even know that was like on concept. It was just like, I want to do a free song because why should I charge? Like it doesn't make sense. But then like when some guy from school hits me up and says, hey, like I want to do like 10 songs with you. And then I don't know who initiated it. It might have been me who initiated the concept of like, pay me. Granted, like I'll be honest, it was definitely $10 a song. So it wasn't like $100 for a whole record. Coming out of high, that's the whole nobody has a job. Right? So it was definitely like, it was a bold move, but he understood how much work I actually put into songs, and it took forever. It took months.
Dude, that's the thing, dude. Right now with that like album, I definitely understand what you mean.
It's like, you know, seeing like what, maybe a $50 check after months. It's kind of just like nice. Like
it feels good. Like you know, that's a very good, you know, dinner. You know, steak maybe, you know. So like, that's like So furthering that, like out of high school, like you know, did you like study music or like production like at college, or were you just, you know, so like what was like life for you in terms of your like music right after graduating high school? Right. So right after graduating high school,
I had done like so many records in high school to the point where it was kind of like ridiculous. You know, I was definitely that one kid who didn't really do that. I still partied, I still got drunk and everything. I also wasn't that guy to be going out every single time because I had projects to do. But
Do you mean during like high school or during college?
During high school.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so the reason why I say that is because, you know, I went into college, you know, being Filipino-American, like I have Asian parents. If I don't go to college, I'm gonna kick my ass.
Yeah, same.
To me, I wanted to go in for audio engineering, which I did, but they actually rejected my application.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like what college did you apply for?
I went to William Patterson in New
that's
Jersey.
just okay. I found you.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very small, like, state school.
Okay.
So, I got accepted into, like, the music studies program. Not technically, like, audio engineering. So I was like, alright, I'll do it as long as I have, like, a college degree or something, right? But then I realized, so I was still making records. Still very much making money off of records. Like, people from school would find out I make records, pay me. But then, I switched over to communications because I found out that they had an audio program there, right? And then when I was taking this class in Pro Tools, the thing that switched, so full disclosure, like I actually like dropped out of college.
You did the smart move, yeah.
I did the smart move, like, you know how like there's a whole concept of like glass half full, glass half empty. The pessimist would think the glass is half full, right, or something like that.
No, half. I guess a pessimist would like think that it's like half empty.
Half empty, right?
Half full, yeah.
Right. So to me, you know, my mom thought just like you wasted X amount of dollars on tuition. To me, it's like I saved whatever was left.
Yeah, you did. No, definitely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because imagine like the debt.
Yeah.
But then, so I was actually, this is the moment. I love telling this story because it's such an interesting story. I was recording, I don't know what software you record on now.
Right now, Reaper for the most part. Yeah.
So I was on Adobe Audition and Reaper.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was actually on Reaper because
it's free.
Reaper, it's free.
Yeah. Technically free, but
technically free, $60.
It's free.
It's
for
free.
All intents and purposes.
It's free for anybody who wants to get into it. But I mainly used it because they had a drum quantizer. So I was recording live drums, and Adobe Audition doesn't have any of that. Having to do that by hand is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So when I was in this class for communications, that's when they were like, we have to put you guys on the Pro Tools. I've been wanting to go on to Pro Tools for
the industry standard, which I refuse to use, but I'm going to have to use eventually.
I actually beg to differ. People are actually straying away from Pro Tools,
which is a good thing.
It's a great thing. Me personally, I don't think I'll ever leave. I love that software.
No, I mean, because like I studied it as well, so I understand how to use it, but I haven't used it so long. Between it being more like optimized like on Mac, and I have a PC obviously,
right,
and it being expensive, even like the student edition, like I said before, Reaper, free. Like it's free, and it's like a fully fledged software. So like. There's not a reason not to use it. Somehow Reaper's gonna find me and like manage to take the software off my computer because I'm like spreading, was like a piracy, but I'm like telling people not to pay for their software. It's like if you have the money, pay for it. But I'm trying to save, especially in this economy. So I'm sorry, but,
It literally does the job. I know that there's some engineers that were using Reaper professionally for years. Years.
There's
so
no
like,
problem with it. It's just, it's a sleeper right now.
Exactly. Yeah. People still definitely sleep on it because I think they think you're free and they think it's like whatever. So then I go take this class in Pro Tools and I was like, I've been itching to join Pro Tools gang for like the longest time. So I finally got the subscription. I ended up sitting down at the mall for 30 minutes, like on YouTube, just looking up like different shortcuts, this and the third. Maybe like a week later, I had a project to do, and I was like, all right, we're gonna make the jump up to Pro Tools. I feel confident in just going to Pro Tools straight. So do the whole project. Like it was really like the minor things that like I needed to learn could have easily been looked up on YouTube. So I would say I was pretty good at Pro Tools from the jump, right? I was in class. And the teacher like was having to demonstrate like I guess signal flow, I would say, but he wasn't understanding how this mono channel like wouldn't get sent to like a specific channel. I forgot what it was specifically, but he, all in all, he just couldn't figure it out, right?
So you got up in a very, you know, heroic manner and basically taught the rest of the class for the whole semester. No?
Dude, it's actually like, that's what it felt like, but I'm a very like humble guy. I will never like be the one to like do that, right? So I knew what was wrong from the jump. And I was like, why does he not know that? That's the most simple. But then what, like the catch of this whole story is that he turned to me and he's like, Liam, do you know what's wrong? As if he obviously had no idea what was wrong with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I do. And then I went up and fixed it. Like, and I just sat there and I was like, why am I in school? You're telling me I just paid thousands of dollars for this class for me to teach a class?
It took me way too, because like I'm from like, you know, immigrant parents as well, so that whole, I totally understand. I'm like, I mean, I can't complain because through college, I got like pretty amazing experiences, especially pertaining to my like study abroad in Japan. And just like a quick aside, my like co-host kind of like jokingly, but like half not jokingly, hates when I mention Japan, because like on a podcast previously, I kind of went on like a tangent with my like interviewee for like a bit too long, so that's why. But listen, now, Japan because I'm the only host on this episode, I get to say Japan, Japan, Japan all I want.
Yes. As you should. Yeah. Japan is, oh my god. If I had to go to one place right now, if COVID wasn't a thing, Japan would be that.
I mean, same for like completely different reasons. But
yeah.
Talking about, so quitting school when you did was like fantastic, obviously. And I definitely like, if you're trying to study music, don't go to school for it. No, audio engineering, let me say specifically, because if you're trying to study like instrument and stuff, that's like a different ballpark for sure. But I would say 100%, don't bother going to school for, studying engineering, because you have a studio in your pocket basically. Like, if you have like a decent laptop and you like watch like, YouTube tutorials, like Skillshare tutorials, like, Liam did, you will have everything you need. Like, you don't need to go to school to learn how to be like an audio engineer anymore.
Yeah, I think like the best argument I've heard, I actually heard this from, I listened to this podcast like religiously, it's called Six Figure Home Studio, and he was basically like debating, it's like, is it worth it to go to audio school? And I think he actually did the specific numbers, but he was saying like, if you buy all of the courses from your top tier like online audio engineering moguls, so like Recording Revolution, Pensado's Place, like anybody else, and you totaled it up, it would still be less than like what you would get at like an NYU audio
definitely. Not speaking of anything, let's take a quick break.
Yes.
And this wasn't like the best transition, but do you have a song or like anything that you want to like show our like audience, just like a quick 30-second, I guess blip of like a song, or even like a TikTok, or like something that you want to like show our like audience? Or?
I would say my favorite production on my production playlist right now is definitely Purple by Rachel Bochner. I'm very, very proud of that record. We co-wrote that with Magnaye and Sasha and of course me, and just a great track overall. If you play that, then you'll get an idea of what my production sounds like through that one song.
Well, I'll put that up right about now.
Even in the dark, I see your face and end up on my way to your place. I got a lot to live for, change in my pocket and it's falling on the floor, and it sounds like the key to your door. Not even wanting more than just us. I'm sure it's enough, cause
Alright, so you guys just finished listening to a teaser from Purple by who again?
Rachel Bochner.
Rachel Bochner.
Very talented.
But before the I don't know, our commercial break, I guess, our plug break.
Yes.
we were talking about, you know, music courses and like not having to go to, you know, music school, or like not having to go to audio recording school in order to like become like a pro audio engineer. And you were saying that, like, you know, if you combine all the courses from like the top engineers, it'll still be way cheaper than like anything you could get like a formal school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, you know, we're kind of in this era where we're starting to see how affected schooling is, and how expensive it is, and how like the cost of return. Because, you know, when you're a high school kid coming out of you know, your senior year, you're kind of pressured to always have this thing of like you have to go to school, this, that, and the third. And I strongly believe that like our gen, when we have kids, that's very much might not even be the conversation, right?
I will actively discourage my kids from going to college.
Really?
Skillshare, like obviously for, you know, some stuff, but
Yeah.
like it was just like for most like non-science things, or probably, you know, everything that's like non-science, non-math, non-STEM, I guess, I would actively discourage my children from, you know, going to college. But that's just me, because I'm in 20K of debt. I feel like I don't have to be 20K of debt, but you know, it is what it is. It's a, you know, it's a give and take with college.
Right.
You know? But like, yeah, continue.
I actually have this conversation with my old boss. I just started doing music full time since COVID.
Woo, right? Yeah.
But I loved my old part-time job to death, because like they were like family to me. I was with them for years. If anybody's in the New Jersey area, it's in Biggie Kebab House in Closter. That's the plug too. But I actually had this conversation with my old boss, and he was telling me, he's like, I would so make sure my kid has a year after high school to do whatever.
Legitimately, that's why we're writing these, because if I had that year,
yeah, and it's like that. Like I take that and I say it as like, when I have a kid, I'm gonna be like, I think you should take a year off, but during that year I want you to like work, or I want you to do something, instead, because like a lot of people, yes, like a year off I get to fucking chill, I get to not but like, no, you're there to work, because what happens, like, and I notice this from everybody, is that when you start working in anything and testing the waters, one of them just sticks. So whether it be like, for me, of course it was music, but you know, my nursing friends, right? The people who went into nursing, you can obviously tell who's very much into nursing and who's not, right? Because especially as Filipino-Americans, there's this qualm that like, oh, you have to be a nurse. Right, you have to. Yeah, like if you look at like all the nurses, like there's so many.
Half of them are Filipino.
Half of them are Filipino, yeah. So there's this qualm, and you'll always know like somebody who's in there just because their parents force them to, and somebody who actually likes it. Because the people who legit don't really like it and they're in nursing, 9 times out of 10 they kind of like say something talking about like, yeah, I'm doing nursing, you know, my mom loves it, this, that, but they're not ecstatic. Like, they're not, like, super, but then you ask somebody who's actually into nursing, and they say, I love helping people. I love the fact that I get to, like, you know, be the person in between somebody either, like, losing life or this, that, and there. Like, anything that has to do with actually caring about people. Right? So, you know, to me, that's like, okay, like, if my kid wants to go to school, something like that, go to school for something like that. I love that. But if they want to become like a painter, a videographer, something that like I know that they don't need school for, I'd actually be like a high advocate against it.
Do it like in the olden days, and just get like a private instructor, and you know, have that, you know, sensei student, you know, relationship. I think that'd be just as like, you know, gratifying and stuff like that. But like, definitely, you don't need.
People sleep on mentors. Mentors are like, I'm actually trying to find one now.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
they're expensive though.
It's far less than school. It's far less than school, and I'm telling you. Because like, what? A mentor is gonna cost like, maybe like $500 for like a couple. Like it depends. Of
Yeah,
course. Like if you're trying to shoot high and get like somebody like freaking, I don't know, the biggest CEO of a firm, and they mentor you, they'd be like, all right, this much, and it's gonna be super expensive.
Yeah.
I always say that if you want to be somewhere, you like getting a mentor. Like your mentor shouldn't be like the highest.
Mm-hmm.
It should be somebody who's literally in the position that you want to be in.
Mm-hmm. So
to me, like, I follow this one guy on TikTok, and that'll probably lead into our TikTok conversation.
Yeah, definitely, let's do it.
His name's Shane, right? He's this mix engineer that gives mixing tips on TikTok.
Which I saw your video like a couple of months ago about like the difference between mastering and mixing. For idiots.
Yeah. Super simplified video, right? I can definitely say that like me making that was definitely influenced by Shane, but the reason why I bring Shane up is because, not per se that like he is exactly where I want to be, but like he has certain things about his music career that I love. And one thing that like I love is, especially just from following him, is that, he's very like open about like he has a kid, he has a wife, and he's doing music full time. To me, those are like three things that boil down, that's essentially what I want, right? So it's just like, I wouldn't mind finding a mentor like Shane and being like, he may not be this huge, like, famous guy or this, that, and the third, but that is a life that I want. And if I can achieve it by learning from how he got there, I'd still get him as a mentor. And that goes for anything,
Yeah, no, definitely, just like, that makes sense. Just like, being taught by somebody who has gone what you will go through if you want to pursue like a similar, life path. So that's definitely like sound advice.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, so, the big elephant in the room, the big elephant that supposedly has a expiration date starting from today.
Yes.
So let's talk about TikTok. And what are you going to do until TikTok ends? Let's talk about how you use TikTok and how has TikTok helped you garner a bigger audience?
Right. So I'm a huge advocate for TikTok, and I think that
like that.
Really? Wow! I would in a whole debate. Let's go. So the reason why I say that is because I'm such an underdog type of guy, fan of underdogs. Meaning when I see, especially in entertainment industry, everybody sleeps on TikTok. They say it's if you make dances there, but if you're actually on the platform as an entertainer, as whatever you may do, how you play guitar, if you were to be on TikTok, it's actually significantly easier the way their algorithms work. It's significantly easier for you to capture following. And what I've noticed from my clients who are quote unquote TikTok famous is that when you leverage it right and it actually translates to your Instagram followers, to your Spotify plays, it's such a great tool. And it's a great tool that people sleep on, and I guess in terms of my time on TikTok, if it does end, which I will so get to, I've been researching it. But for my time on TikTok, I kind of just use it as the medium to post on Instagram and on Twitter because people see that on TikTok. Let me. It's all about translation. So I use it initially to just spread music, but then what I started to notice is that people were interested in the fact that I was either doing music full time, or they were interested about how I mix songs. And what's crazy, and this is why I will vouch for TikTok. There was one period where my TikToks were kind of, I don't want to say blowing up, but they were blowing up in comparison to other posts, right? I actually got within that month, I got so many leads over to my services of I saw that you mix this, can you mix my vocals? Oh, I saw this, can you mix my beat? I saw this, I just checked out your whole production page because your Instagram.
You're making me regret not taking TikTok seriously. Because, I've been trying to, start doing, you know, trying to like make a life for myself doing like freelance audio work. And now that you're talking about this, like again, my like co-host has said numerous times, TikTok is where it's at in terms of promotion, but I always disregarded it because of the sillier things and the controversy, not like concerning the politics, but the controversy of like, you know, TikTokers doing stupid things and stuff like that. And like, but now that you're like talking about it like this, you like definitely changed my mind. And now I kind of hope TikTok doesn't get, you know, blown to hell so that I could have a chance to, you know, use it.
Are you
start
on the
downloading it
platform?
right now? I'm not on the platform. You can download it right now. If you see, I'll start downloading it.
So, what's weird, because I follow the whole TikTok controversy because it's very much like a weird game of like telephone.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Trump will say something, but then next thing you know, TikTok will say something. So the latest, I would say, development, of course, Donald Trump made the order when? Like Wednesday?
This week, yeah.
Sometime this week.
Yeah.
But I got a notification from TikTok yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was basically saying, it's like, we're here to stay, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, so, is it gone? Is it not going to be gone? Like,
I mean, it's kind of like the case of the Titanic, like, you know, the lifeguard or whatever, trying to calm people down as, like, the ship is, like, clearly sinking. Not to say that, you know, TikTok is gonna just, like, fade like that, but, like, it's kind of like a certain situation, like, you know, not trying to cause people to panic and stuff like that, but I'm sure, like, the biggest grossing TikTokers are, like, definitely in, like, crisis mode.
Exactly, which is why, and not even to be a dick, but that's kind of their fault. Like, it's their fault if their only translation, I would say, was on TikTok. Yeah. So the reason why I say that, again, like going back to what I said earlier, I have a few clients, right? One of my biggest clients, like Bianca Jolyn, like I was actually telling her about this, right? So her and her brother like kind of have a conjoined like TikTok because like her brother's deaf and like they make really cool videos. Cool, yeah. I love those two being deaf, right? What I was telling her is smart about her and how she's handling the fact that she has such a large following on TikTok is actually because it translates. Because if you were to click on her Instagram, I think she has like 11 to 12K, right? And it's not like on some fake. It's on like you literally look at her posts and people comment and like the engagement is so high. And then when her and I did a project, it was her very first music project, right? She leveraged it on TikTok so hard that it literally got the plays that it deserved, right? And like it resulted in so many people streaming the song, like making TikToks from the song. And to me, that's how you translate. So you don't even have to be in music. If you're just one of your regular, bland old TikTok influencers with like a couple 100K followers or like maybe even 1 million, but you go on your Instagram and you only have like even 5K or like anything that it's obvious that it's not translating. It's obvious that like if this is something that you're going to be doing for a living, you need to learn how to bring things from TikTok to your Instagram, to your Twitter, to your YouTube page. And like that to me is just like if you're like a huge TikTok person and you're scared that TikTok's failing, you need to reevaluate yourself. Ooh. That's just speaking facts. That's
spicy take.
It's a really hot take, but it's the truth. Like that meme, like I don't know if you've seen that meme of like TikTokers doing the dances at McDonald's.
I haven't seen that, but like I'll look it up after, yeah.
Dude, it's hilarious because like not for nothing, like if some of these influencers don't know what they're gonna do with all that clout and they just lose it overnight, like not for nothing, that's also like your fault. You should have started YouTube.
No, definitely.
You should have also been pushing that content on Instagram.
Yeah. I've seen, you know, tons of people, even like people as big as like Philip DeFranco. Yeah, even say, you know, talking about this news and it's like, diversify. Just like, obviously, like you gotta diversify these days because, you know, content, platforms don't last forever. Like,
exactly.
Things are always shifting. Obviously, you know, Vine and stuff, which, you know, these like most famous TikTokers might be too young to even like really remember what Vine is. That's crazy, yeah.
Dude, we're old.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, tons of like wisdom from Liam, and like
Yes.
I'll definitely, if TikTok survives, I'll definitely ask you questions and like try
Yes.
to like have you like help me out in terms of like
Of
trying
course.
to get a following. But speaking of TikTok, did like TikTok help you in like any way, or do you think TikTok will like help you in your merch drop?
Oh,
Hashtag
my
plug.
merch drop.
Hashtag
My
shameless
merch
plug.
drop.
Do you want to take it off and show like you can like bring it closer
My
to the
hair
camera
kind
or
of ugly,
something?
but like
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
grab you because I'll push it this way.
There you
so
go, yeah. We can probably zoom in on that after.
Peaches.
Yeah, so like, explain to me the history. Like, is the brand name going to be Peaches, or is this like a bigger fashion thing, or like brand they want to explore on, or is this like a one-time thing, or like, yeah, just tell me how it started and where it's going to go from here.
Right. Okay. So, Peaches as a whole is like one of my singles under Baby Boy Blue.
Okay, cool.
Right. So it's actually like my biggest song to date. You know, it has 182, I think.
Ooh, nice.
Either that 187, something close to like 190,000. Right. So to me, that's like my biggest song. Long story short, girl cheated on me. But like I got over it because I'm Liam, but I was just like, well, there's this energy I need to channel, and then I wrote the song, sent it off to one of my really great friends, Mary Lou Villegas, who's huge in the Filipino community. She sang over it, and then with that combined effort and just a really good song, like really good vocalist on it, song blew up, right? At least to the degree that like I see like almost 200K.
Yeah,
that's a really big thing for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, all organically. I don't run ads on anything because I don't care about my artist's music as much as I care about other people's music. But that's besides the point, right? So, I basically like was cool about it. Like it wasn't that big a deal until I saw 100K. 100K, I was like, I should do something. And like I was talking to one of my boys about how to do merch, because I've always wanted to do. It's one of every artist's dreams to have merchandise, right? It's part of the job, right? So it was actually supposed to happen before COVID, and then COVID happened. So I was literally setting up for maybe a March drop, and then that's when COVID hit, and then I do print on demand, so the manufacturer was already getting backed up to where like if I were to drop it in March, people wouldn't see their packages for months. Not the wave. So I kind of just dropped it. And then like I started to just see like the patterns of how like they're handling it and how the world is just handling the virus, period. And granted, I can't say anything about the Midwest. I can say stuff about New Jersey and New York. It's starting to cool down a little bit on our side. So I was like, okay, things are starting to come back to a normal pace in terms of shipping. So I was like, I think I'm gonna do it. And I was like, wait, like the 1 year anniversary of the song is on September 27th. So I was like, I can definitely get that merch drop. So the merch drop in itself is actually like a limited thing because I don't really care. It's one of those like income streams where I'm down to do every once in a while, quick cash grab, of course. But like also it's cool, right? Like imagine like only having 2 weeks to cop like a really cool like hoodie or like a hat that you could wear for.
I mean that's like higher end street brand or like streetwear brands in like a nutshell, drops, and then you have the resellers and all that beautiful stock gets and everything.
Exactly. And like I slept on it because I was very much like, oh yeah, it's gonna be up there forever. And then I always have like business talks with my 2 best friends, Rachel and Benjamin Martinez, right? Because they're so like entrepreneurial and like as much as I am, if not more. And they were like, no, you should only do like a limited drop. And I was like, you're right. And just like by the way, like when somebody hears limited time, of course they're gonna hop on that.
Exactly,
So then like the way it's playing out in my head, this is the whole plan, is that the Peaches merch is gonna drop on the 27th. It's only gonna be live for 2 weeks, so from there to October 3, I think. And then that's it. Right? Depending on like how it goes, I may reopen it for like a few days, maybe. But to me, that's leverage because it means that when people purchase, I have their emails to do newsletter stuff. And now there's traffic going to like my website if anybody just wants to work with me. It's like, I just got this like Peaches hoodie, but I've also wanted to work with Liam for a long time. He has this booking section on his website. Let me fill that out.
What's your website, by the way?
So the plug. All right, so you actually can't unless this is after September 27th.
Which will be, I think, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it's lrhqproductions.com.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. I was about to say that. So on Instagram. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like that. It's mainly just like a thing for the website, and then of course, like I want to do brand collaborations. So like one of my best friends, Jolyn, she wants to drop merch, so I'd probably do a collaboration with her.
What's your IG?
Plug Jolyn.m. That's my best friend, y'all.
Check it out.
Another brand, because this is a brand that like I literally vouch for, is Young Whip.
Okay.
So Young Whip stands for You Only Like Me When I'm Pretty. Right? It's a brand about like mental health. Right? I love it. Ran by my friend Sam. I definitely want to do a collaboration with her. Just because like I love what she stands for, and I know like I can use my platform to leverage her and just like build this thing that's like going to be beneficial for both of us, especially her, because I care about her brand. Like I care about a lot of people's brands before like myself, but I also have enough leverage on myself to know that I'm cool. That I'm cool to like help other people.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. Like that's the merch plan. I'm so excited to drop this.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, people are excited.
Yeah. So will it just be the hats, or is there?
So there's a hat, and then there's two hoodies. It's like the Peaches hoodie, which has the same logo.
Yeah.
Just in the center. A baby boy blue hoodie, which
I don't do.
Yeah, so the baby boy blue. Yeah, like I don't know if people are actually gonna buy it. It's there because certain people want it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, might as well just sneak it in there.
Yeah.
Same thing comes with like a t-shirt and then two limited things of like a cropped hoodie and then a cropped crew neck.
Cool.
Labeling it unisex because I want to make sure that whole normalization of guys wearing crop tops is there. Because I love that. Like me as a straight guy, I would rock a cropped hoodie.
I have the body for that. If I had the body, definitely for sure, but not good.
That's what everybody says about it. But it's just like, who you? Normalize it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so like I'm definitely looking forward to, Peaches coming out, and like hopefully that's like a big push in terms of like, whatever whatever comes in the future for you. But it seems like you definitely have like you definitely have a good game plan. You definitely know what you're doing. You're so confident, which is like, I mean, you're like the gold standard for artists, entrepreneurs, whatever, trying to make it, all across the world, and like specifically in New York City. And speaking of which, like let's talk about more about your like relationship to the city. Like, what do you think about the music culture? Like, you talked about it like a bit, but we could talk about more. Like,
right.
What like draws you to like New York City, and like what's like just talk about your experience with the music culture in New York City, and like have you ever performed in New York City before? Or?
Yes, I've performed a bunch.
Okay, let's talk about that then. Yeah, I'm down.
So first and foremost, I think it's just the nature of New York City, but it's very dog out here, right? And what I mean by that is that like I have friends who tell me their experiences as a creative in Cali, and there's like that competition, but it's more of like a clout competition of just like I have more clout than you, this and the third. It doesn't feel as like biting, I would say. But like New York, since we grew up here, like has like such a grit that we just show in our personalities, but at the same time, it's a grit that we translate in our music.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is that like I love New York, and I love like my homies who are making it in New York, because you can tell that like they're very strong and compassionate and passionate about their music, and you can tell like the people who are going to stop at nothing to get there, right? And I can even say the same thing about Philly. I think it's just like this whole tri-state area is very like strong-headed in the things that they want, right? So to me, like, I love New York specifically just because of that energy. It's fast here. It's very like, I'm gonna get my stuff done. If you don't want me to get my stuff done, well, I don't care about you. Right? Like that's really what it boils down to. And that you can even say that's a New Jersey thing. Won't even downplay New Jersey attitude. Because it's like the same thing where like if I was in Cali, I guess like the stigma around Cali, I'd be so much more chill about it. I'd be so, but like the fact that like my personality is ingrained in this thing of like fast and passionate and like also just very about who I am and like the things that I do is like that. I get that to New York. I get that to New Jersey, and it translates into music. It translates into how I present my career.
I mean, definitely, because the thing over here is that if you don't make rent,
rent's expensive.
That's the thing. It's like the New York hustle. I feel like it's like definitely kind of like an economic thing. Because, you know, California is like expensive. SoCal is expensive as well. But, you know, compared to like over here, you know, I mean, the fact is that, if you get kicked out on the streets, in California, you know, there's space, you know, and it's warm all year long, but I mean, you know, right, just like mid-September, when it starts going to fall, man,
that seasonal depression gets to me,
that too, and because of, you know, fear of like getting kicked out, kicks you into like overdrive, you know,
exactly, and you know, my homies, like, you know, specifically in Queens, like, it's kind of like a hustle.
Flushing.
Oh, Flushing? Is that where you're from?
No, but like Flushing has like a big Asian American like, you know, community over there. So
right. My homie's in Elmhurst. Right, the Elmhurst area. And like, I love how they handle their stuff only because it's like, I think it's just artistic the way that they guys, the way that they do it. But then it's also very much like the attitude of it. Right. And the attitude that comes out of here. I think that like, granted, my dream location to kind of end up in is Cali. It is like, you know, the Las Vegas, California area.
We're gonna cut that out because this sounds like NYC, that sounds like Cali or Los Angeles, but maybe if we do have enough success, that could be a branch that will like gladly hand the keys to you, but not
we gotta expand right now. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to my episode. I think Daniel and I really provided a lot of value, a lot of insight on things music, on things TikTok, everything. So again, thank you so much. Love you. You're the best.